Jaguar Wright is blasting every woman who ever linked up with Diddy. Word is spreading that Diddy might have been cozy with the FBI. And now his Hollywood buddies are ducking for cover. Dro, Oprah, Ilaniea, the heavyweights are running for the exits. And this is just the opening act. The lights are dim, PR squads are on mute, and the escape maps are coming out. From Jennifer Lopez to Oprah. Panic mode is activated after Jaguar started tossing out A-list names and hinting at Diddy's backdoor deals with investigators. We're about to unpack every name, every clip, and all the madness that could explode next.
Every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And he had some of the footage, he had some of the pictures, and he displayed those in the lawsuit that came out. And this was used for blackmail material. They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced. The videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. Whoa. So he was...
Wright's first big target is none other than Beyoncé, and she's been throwing shade at her for years. Jaguar insists she's been dropping warnings about Queen Bey forever. Beyoncé wasn't just a bystander while Jay-Z and Diddy ran their shady parties. She was in on it. She rolled up with Jay-Z to all of Diddy's late-night scenes. And one victim even claims Beyoncé sat back while the two carried on their abuse. Instead of exposing Jay-Z's dirt, Beyoncé allegedly teamed up with him and Diddy to bury the evidence and cash in on the blackmail game. And since tying the knot with Jay-Z, it looks like Beyoncé's been scooping Grammys nonstop.
Beyoncé, do you... just as evil in your opinion? Has she done things you know of? Is it Jay-Z in your mind? What is the...
I know a lot of things that shameless hat has done, but her greatest sin is vanity. And I'm going to say this about you now, baby. Everybody who knows you are dumb as a sack of hair. Truth is, if it wasn't for your singing and your dancing, you would have never been anything more than a shampoo girl in your mother's shop. You ain't got the common sense of a damn dog.
But that's not criminal.
Huh?
It's not criminal. Is there?
No. I'm going to get you there.
Oh, I see. She's just too dumb to know what she's in for.
No, she's just dumb enough to be down with whatever's going on.
Okay.
She's probably one of the most least empathetic people I've ever met.
Jaguar blasted Beyoncé and Jay-Z right on national TV when she sat down with Piers Morgan to air out their alleged crimes. The power couple fired off a cease and desist to Morgan, but still avoided filing any defamation case. Why? Because the second they do, Jaguar's receipts could hit the spotlight. One user on X even joked, "Wild how none of these celebs ever sick their lawyers on Jaguar Wright. She's been dragging these folks for years, no defamation suits. No NDAs, no real cease and desist. Nada."
Happens with exposures. You make yourself vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, seen and unseen. What happened to my friend? When he passed away, there was $250,000 on my head and $150,000 on his. But what if I had decided to go back with my head held low and said, "Sean, I'm willing to play the game," and then found a way to get inside of him and move him around?
The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invite her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyoncé during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact. and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologise to Jay's.
Another name, tied to both Diddy and the abuse rumors, is Naomi Campbell. She's been linked up with Diddy for the past 2 decades. Even after her own name popped up in investigations connected to notorious predators like Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Most people, especially this awful son, wanted me to be in jail. And I'm not saying what my behavior was correct. I think that everyone during this period of Terminal 5 madness was upset and irate. And I guess I just took it.
To make things even messier, way back in 1998, Naomi was convicted for attacking her assistant and choking her in a violent outburst. Since then, she's racked up around 10 more charges for physically going after staff and even spitting on cops who tried to break it up. Naomi's long trail of violent scandals started right around the time she got close with Diddy, and just like him, she somehow dodged any real jail time. Nearly a year before the raid on Diddy's home, Naomi landed back in court this time for scratching a photographer's eye and walked away with only a 6-month suspended sentence.
Oh, Naomi has a temper.
Today, the 45-year-old supermodel was found guilty in a Sicilian court for assaulting a photographer. She was given a 6-month suspended prison term, so she escapes the dreaded orange.
You thought Naomi's scandals were wild. Wait until you see what Demi Moore was caught on camera doing, a longtime friend of Diddy. Demi sparked controversy back in 1982 when a video showed her kissing her General Hospital co-star Philip Tanzini at his 14th birthday party. The resurfaced clip shows Moore kissing him several times and saying, "I love Philip. He's one of my absolute favorite people."
Moore is the greatest, and I'm putting in a buck. Thank you. Okay, one more time. Somewhere over the rainbow. Why do you think everybody's come out? I don't know. Maybe just because I love them all and I hope they all love me. We do love him. And I love them.
I think it's for the publicity. You're out of your mind.
Absolutely, because he's one of my most favorite people. Have you been working on the show? Almost a month and a half. What's your role? I'm Mixley Left. And I'm Philip Tanzini, and I play Jeremy, and you're stealing my part. I'm sorry. We're moving on to interview number 2 here. Oh, okay. Because I love Philip, and he's the only one I love. Do your interview already.
Ashton Kutcher, in love with Mila Kunis on that 70s show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore, who drained him of all the adrenochrome she can, and apparently he replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with her daughters. I'm glad. I'm sure you're glad.
Most heartbreaking part about Demi Moore's story is that she was a victim herself. At just 15 years old, her mother reportedly accepted $500 from a stranger in exchange for her. In interviews about her book, Demi revealed how her mother would take her to bars and let men look at her, treating her like she was for sale. Demi even recalled the painful moment of realizing what had happened and later learning that her own mother knew about it and allowed
more. She revealed in her memoir that she was assaulted at the age of 15, writing that her mother let the abuser in their home. Well, today, Demi talked to Howard Stern more about this on his Sirius XM radio show.
You say you pushed it away. You don't need, you just recently.
I pushed it away because I felt like it was my fault, like that I felt like I had behaved in a way that was
provocative
and mature, like I really knew a lot, and I never really looked at myself as being a kid, and so I and I never looked at it as, I mean, I saw it as an unfortunate and, you know,
Yet he forced you into this.
I was very embarrassed by it. In all honesty, I think that the shame I carried because of the rape made me afraid to feel I could comfortably express myself sexually.
It makes me just remember the conversation that I had with her where she talked about the purpose of her writing this book was to share her story in hopes that it would empower other young women. She did talk about a lot of other things to Howard Stern. She said she auditioned for Top Gun, obviously didn't get them.
Among the few celebs who actually bailed from the U.S., Ellen sits at the top. In 2024, just after the raid on Diddy's Miami mansion, Ellen suddenly announced she was leaving the country for good. The timing looked way too perfect, lining up right with Diddy's arrest. And fans quickly picked up on another detail and switched up her look. After being blonde her entire career, she dyed her hair and packed up for England to start over.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very
she could
sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of...
Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
You're really bad. If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
DeGeneres has been seen rocking a new hair color since moving to the UK. The comedian changed her signature blonde look to brunette as she was seen enjoying a night out with friends at a pub called The Farmer's Dog. Ellen went out with her wife, Portia de Rossi, and a few friends, including the Torn singer Natalie Imbruglia. Sources told TMZ earlier this week that Ellen and Portia moved to England because of Donald Trump's re-election. They have reportedly settled into their new home in the southwest region of England, but they purchased the property before the election.
What's even more surprising is that with Diddy about to walk free, Ellen is suddenly plotting a comeback. The same woman who swore she was done with the US when he got arrested is now making her return right after Diddy was declared not guilty.
Combs' mom, Janice, waving to the crowd, his children breaking into smiles as they leave the federal courthouse in downtown Manhattan after the stunning verdict. Shouts of congratulations fill the air as they climb into a waiting van.
Congratulations, Mama! One person working overtime to keep her distance from Diddy is Oprah. Her ties to Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and Diddy aren't exactly a secret. She was close with all three, and photos even show her kissing Harvey. But the second Harvey's crimes came to light, Oprah quickly switched gears and acted like she barely even knew him.
Oprah and them, he was running with that whole crew. Weinstein, Oprah, Epstein, he was running with that whole crew. They want to know how we're going to do it, how the public is going to take him. Is the public going to let him back in? And the public is not. The public is already canceling him. I don't believe the industry has canceled him yet. All those people who went to those Diddy parties, not one of them had came out and denounced what he has done. I haven't heard one of them. I have not heard one person denounce, well, man, let God handle it. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here with that. If that was your daughter, would you let God handle it? All those people, they ain't denounced him. they ain't definitely, they can't come forward and say, yo, I support them, because it would mess up their brand. It would mess up their brand. Jay-Z, we the only one could call each other Sean. Jay is the only one could call me Sean. I'm the only one could call him Sean. Get the hell out of here. If that ain't no fun boy stuff. But you ain't had not one person, brother, not one person sit there, denounce what he did, or come forward and say, I support him.
Have lost this moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in, there have been women who not only had the disease to please, that's a part of it, but who felt that in order to keep my job, in order to keep my position, in order to keep moving forward, I've got to smile, I've got to look the other way, I got to pretend he didn't say that, I got to pretend he didn't touch me. I think those days are about to be over.
Are over. And if it happens to you, back in the day, you would say, sometimes you're not even aware what he just said wasn't really inappropriate.
I know you've had a couple moments.
Where you just think, what did he just say?
Yes, I remember Gail had a moment when she came and said to me what somebody said that was so inappropriate. I was like, oh my God, you can sue over that. But
no, and all I said was, what did you say? And then they repeated it.
Yes. Terrible.
I just sat there typing with my 20-something-year-old son.
Pretend you didn't hear it.
Yes.
You pretend it's okay. You pretend you didn't.
No, it isn't. You're right, Jeff. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
But a lot of women have been silenced, and I know
but I do think it's going to change.
Being a victim of child sexual that when you feel like you cannot be heard and then other people start speaking out, it makes you feel like, oh, now I can speak out too.
Yeah.
So,
you've been speaking about it for a while.
For years.
You know, I'm not, you know, I don't follow their brand of politics, I guess.
But if you can't think for yourself, then you're not really free, are you?
No, you're not. You're not. But I've been excluded. I've been excluded on Oprah, you know.
On Oprah?
On Oprah, yeah. I've been excluded. Yeah, man.
I would think you'd be the person Oprah would want to promote. I mean, you grew up in South Central. You were successful at a young age. You have dignity. You say what you think. Like, I thought that was the goal.
Me too. You know, I don't know what it is, but, you know, several of my, you know, I had a movie called Barbershop, you know.
Yeah, I remember.
That I wasn't invited to participate with the cast. I produced a show called Black White, and it was a very controversial show. And once again, they had the whole cast on, but I wasn't invited. And so I don't know. I don't know what that's
on Oprah's show.
Yeah, so I don't know what that's.
But Oprah's obviously a saintly, godlike figure who's revered by all decent people. Why would she exclude you?
I really don't know. You know, that's something that I would love to find out. But I can't tell you, you know, if there's a single thing that I've done or said to her.
Have you noticed that it is more controversial to criticize Oprah than to burn the American flag?
Really?
Seems that way. I've never heard anybody criticize Oprah.
Is it really just coincidence that Oprah always seems linked to people later exposed in abuse scandals, only to claim she's completely against it afterward? It doesn't take much to connect the dots. Every time a major case blows up, Oprah somehow turns out to have been close with the people involved, or counted them as friends in the past.
P. Diddy, what do you think is going to happen with all that now?
I knew a lot of people who knew Jeffrey Epstein, like a lot. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, thank God. I certainly knew a lot of people who knew him, and like a lot, like more than 10. Jeffrey Epstein was not considered like some far out sinister figure in the world that I lived in. I mean, I'm just being totally honest about this. He was like this kind of interesting guy who had, you know, had this kind of rotating salon at his house off Fifth Avenue in New York, and there was always the Israeli prime minister and former presidents and like just interesting people, you know. I did not understand what that was about at all, and so when he died, I was like, oh, poor guy, from prison. And then I got a call from his brother just randomly, and his brother said, you know, he did not commit suicide. Was really shocked by that, and I thought maybe his brother's crazy. So this set off a multi-year journey for me that really changed my views about a lot of different things. And the bottom line is Jeffrey Epstein was, and not only murdered, but he was in the most secure federal lockup in Midtown Manhattan. In the country. And so what is that? What is that? Think about that.
3 days after Oprah publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein, singer Seal Instagrammed this meme. Showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul, it reads, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution."
Give me love.
Please welcome Seal! The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot. That's right. You'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses. My bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a sexual survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum.
The person most closely tied to Diddy, and even linked to a police investigation with him, is JLo. She dated Diddy for nearly 3 years back in the 90s, but in 1999, things took a dark turn. JLo was right there during a nightclub incident with Diddy that left one person dead and another injured. A story that dominated headlines. While JLo never faced charges, Diddy later came under serious legal scrutiny for the event.